Hello. Oh gosh. How you doing? I just saw my hair and everything and I'm like, oh, I got so pretty for you guys.
Yeah, what we need is a Carrie Lake type of filter to make us look better.
Hello.
Hi, Lauren.
Hello.
Oh, Hannah. Cash.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Before we get going, just FYI, I'm watching my daughter tonight. My husband's out of town, so I will not be on camera and will pay attention as much as possible.
Can we see your kid?
There she is, right on my lap, her favorite spot. Mara, wave
Oh,
hi.
redhead.
Yes, makes me very happy.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, depending on it's not as cute of an excuse, but depending on how long we go, I should be able to stay the whole time, but I may have to drop off camera at a certain point. I'm out of town right now, so and I've got to go to something in about half an hour or so, but I should be able to stay here.
Well, if Matt doesn't show up pretty soon, then you're going to have to chair us, Cash. So
Right.
Have you guys been to the Denver Mint yet? It's open again.
It's open again?
Mm-hmm.
So this is Hannah. I have not been since I was a little girl, and I have 2 teenage boys that I have been
Oh.
dying to take through there at some
Oh my
point
gosh. You have
before
to.
they get. It's incredible, but then it shut down right as
Yeah.
they were old enough to actually
Well-
like grasp the concept.
You do everything through email now. And they tell you they only tell you when you're coming. They don't tell you you're not coming. So
Okay.
they ask you.
Still
for
worth looking into
dates
for
and
sure, though.
times.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do
You
that.
have to go into the gift shop, right? Because then they have the different coins and stuff, but there's a coin machine just to the left when you walk in. You put in $1, $5, $20, and it's up to you, but I wear gloves. And then I get the coins and then I save them and give them to people and say, this coin came from Denver, Colorado's Denver Mint. And said, no matter where this coin goes in its lifetime, you'll always be the first one to have ever touched it. And I
That's
make,
outstanding.
"Ooh."
Oh, that's so cool that you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat.
That's
Well, and
really
who
neat.
seems to like it the best really is, interestingly enough, are people with the airport. So flight attendants, pilots, baggage people. I don't ever seem to give it to the security people, but I should.
It's cool. I mean, I work right down the street. We just opened that Slate Hotel that was in the old Emily Griffith Opportunity School
Oh, really? Across the way there. Okay.
across the way. Yeah, so it'd be interesting to see if, be something guests might like actually.
Oh, hotels get there and you see people there, like concierge people there waiting to
Mhm.
pick up tickets for the day. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I'm excited.
I'll go ahead and write to Cash. It's hello, Cash. I'll go ahead and write to Monsieur Captri.
Yeah, last month we didn't have a quorum. And I mean, Eric, I assume Matt's coming tonight. It's just not, it's not the easiest night for me to run it because I'm not going to have the agenda in front of me the whole time. I can do it if
Put it on.
necessary.
I think he was trying to jump on. I couldn't get him over. He didn't show up, but he had somebody on the side there, like I couldn't get over.
Fully expecting him to be
Cash says he can't run the meeting. He's out of town and.
And I could figure it out if we need to, but I just wasn't, I assumed Matt would be here.
Hmm. You can do it on your phone.
But sorry, yeah, I'm on my phone. I'm just not going to have the agenda in front of
Oh,
me the
no,
whole
I'm
time.
sorry. I'm talking to Matt.
Eric, you said you're expecting him to be here.
Matt's having a hard time getting on the computer.
Oh.
It's black screening on the Zoom connection. So we'll see if he tries the phone or not. That's who I'm talking to, sorry. Even on your phone? It says installing updates for him.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Maybe it just went, oh.
Well, if they're only Zoom updates, they may not take long. If they're
Well, it's
micro-
weird because how come I didn't get the Zoom update? Because
didn't
you're
either.
lucky. That's weird. So your
Oh.
computer and phone, you can't do either. Okay. It says something's in progress for him.
There he is.
You're here, they said. Bye.
there you go.
Let me see if I can get the video to work here. Stand by. All righty, let's see. Hi. Now I need to just find the agenda. All right, how's everybody doing?
Well, I have it open. Shall I share my screen?
I think I have it right here. Sorry guys, I'll tell you what, engineers, software engineers, whenever you open the program and they say we need to update your application, please stand by.
Ominous, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. So I got the agenda here. Calling the meeting to order, 6:38, a little bit late. First on the agenda is approval of the minutes.
Gotta do roll call.
Roll call. Go ahead, Eric.
All right, Chair Crabtree,
Here.
Vice Chair Cash Parker,
Here,
Lauren Cooper,
Here.
Melinda Ellswick,
Here,
CJ Cullinan,
Here.
Hannah Miles,
Here.
and Cheryl Wink is absent. Eric Sampson is here for staff, as well as Planning Manager Brian Isom. No more Jason O'Brien. You saw that he has resigned from the board since he now lives in Arvada. So, okay, back to you, Matt.
All righty. Moving on to public forum. Nobody present from the public here tonight.
Approval of minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Approval of minutes. Approval of minutes. September 21st, 22nd, September 21st, 2022 draft minutes.
So moved.
Second. Who's the second?
Second.
Thank you, Cash. So that's so moved by CJ and seconded by Cash. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion carried. Now we're on to moving on to public forum. Nobody present from the public. Old business. This is a topic that I wanted to bring up during the meeting last month, but we had a quorum issue, so we'll bring it up now. It's a little bit after the presentation to council. First off, just wanted to kind of review what everybody's thoughts were from the presentation to council of the Pinyon survey. And see if there's any input on that. It's now been a couple months here, but month and a half, I guess. But does anybody have any input from that presentation to council?
I would say we got their attention, at least a couple of them, that we showed them what we were losing and what we were powerless to stop. And I have to ask, is that your little girl in your lap?
It is. Yes, it is. Just a second here. Zooms. There. Yes, this is. Here she is. I have to watch her until Ashley gets home tonight. So she's sitting here on my lap and as a guest of the Historic Preservation Commission, staring at the monitors.
Matt, my daughter's here too, sitting on my lap. So got a couple of guests tonight.
There you go. Well, she's staying quiet here, so yeah, but I think it went pretty well. I think Pinyon did a pretty good job with obviously with the help of Ashley and Sean writing it. The presentation was long to council, but I think they viewed it as positive. Following the presentation to council, I talked briefly with City Manager Lewis. He is looking for some more information as it relates to mapping data, and kind of critical areas that need to be focused on. This is kind of the next step, so we can identify specific areas of importance within the city. Now, Eric, you and I had discussed this briefly, I think last week. Have you had any other conversations with City Manager Lewis on this?
Not with the city manager, but I have had a conversation with Brad Power, the community development director. And the plan is, before we bring the Pinyon document forward for a formal adoption with city council, we're going to work with our long range planner and the GIS department to come up with a series of probably 3 or 4 maps that kind of illustrate what the main recommendations were in the Pinyon Historic Survey, so we can have some visuals to go along with that. And like you said, Matt, those are going to be the try to focus on areas of the city which are kind of ripe for further historic preservation efforts, if you will.
Okay, what are the next steps within that process? What
next step is Brad is going to touch base with Sean on that.
Okay. Because I'm certain that we can give some input into areas of importance. I know that Arapahoe Acres would be one of those.
Mm-hmm.
The downtown development area, you know, I would say 3400 block of Broadway or the downtown Inglewood is important, but then extending into the medical district is probably a pretty important area, and then along the lines of anything identified from the Pinyon survey where there's still kind of a high density of historic homes as a group. So these would be, you know, specific areas I would guess of importance on that. Is that kind of the idea right now?
Yep, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, what's you know, Sean wanted that wanted that pretty soon. What's the ETA on that next step?
I'll know more after Brad's meeting with Sean. So I should have more info by the next meeting.
Okay. Good. For the next meeting. All right, cool. So we'll hope for that in December. Any other input? Anybody else want to comment on that part? Maybe CJ, go ahead.
I just really want to compliment you, Matt. You are very articulate as far as any presentation, succinct, and just really get the issue across. So I thank you for your presence and oration. I don't.
Well, glad it turned out well. So thank you for that. Cool. Well, any other discussion on this? Cash? Any input from you?
No, sorry I missed it. I couldn't be there that evening due to a work commitment, but thank you for doing it.
Okay. Well, Lauren, Hannah, any comments?
No, I kind of like that. I apologize for not being there. We get to be short-staffed in the hospitality industry. It's been quite a run. But thank you so much for putting that together.
All right. Well, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have any major comments other than, yeah, I think it would be just kind of important to keep it moving forward. And I'm excited to hear kind of what the next steps are we can take as far as getting an actual survey done of specific areas. And I think that'll go a long way towards helping to, list some of these areas in either a local register or the national register. I think would be great next steps.
Good. All right, sounds good. Well, if we don't have any other discussion on the Pinyon survey, we'll go to Title 16, CodeNext. Eric, I know you and I had mentioned or had discussed that Gold Evans might have been available to be present at our meeting, but I guess at kind of last minute last week, they were not able to confirm yet.
Yep, that's correct. And so tonight we just wanted to talk to you about the potential of maybe doing a working session with them during the December meeting or having a special meeting to talk about the Title 16 CodeNext. And Brian, if you want to pop in on that, if
Brian.
Sorry, unmuted. Yeah, we tried to get them booked for this meeting. We're working through some of the other more substantial, like the larger change sections right now with council, so housing and some other items. We haven't gotten to the Historic Preservation Commission section quite yet. But after we get through with these last two study sessions with council, we wanted to start looking at trying to get something scheduled with you all to go through the changes that you have drafted so far with our consultant. And the thought is either to look at your next regular meeting in December, or if y'all are available for any kind of special meeting sometime either in December, hopefully in December rather than in January. But I'm just here to kind of test the waters on what availability you all have, so that we can start working with our consultant to try to get it scheduled. The
If I may
anticipation.
suggest December
Go ahead.
16th is set already. If we could just move forward with that and make that our topic for the agenda.
you mean December 21st?
Yeah, I think the 21st is the third Wednesday.
21st, that's what I really said. It was just another language or something. So.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if we can do it in a regular meeting, that makes sense to me. I don't know if there's a lot of carryover from this agenda to next month, so there should probably be time. Matt, I don't know what you think.
Yeah, no, I think, I mean, I'm good for December 21st. I know that's a difficult month for a lot of folks because they're, that's I guess technically that is the week of Christmas. But is everybody available? Does that Wednesday work for everyone?
That works for me. I plan on being there.
Works for me as well. It's like the slowest month in the hotel.
Yeah. Yeah, works for me. Mhm.
Okay, so we dedicate that whole meeting, I guess, as a working session for this. So yeah, I mean, probably hour and a half, 2 hours, I'd imagine. Eric, is there any expectations from you, how long this might take?
I'm guessing probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Hour and a half, 2 hours, okay.
Yep, I think so.
Do we have to have a lawyer present?
I don't necessarily think so. We can always invite Vicky.
Well, we have cash.
I'll do my best, but this lawyer is not giving legal advice in this capacity, but I'll do my best to help.
The concern for me is that we've been through so many lawyers that having one that we have to kind of wrap in again, is that something
Retrain, yeah.
we need to do? I mean, if we need to do it so that they're on our side, I'm sure we can invest the time, but if we don't have to.
I'd recommend you do it sooner rather than later. The city attorney's office is going to vet the entire document when it's done. So it's probably better that you have them in the meeting and have them listening into your conversations rather than waiting until the very end and them seeing language towards the end.
Well, here's the thing, Brian. We haven't been waiting. We've met with 3 lawyers and
I
we've
know.
gone through the language. So it's like, but you're thinking because it's a new set, do it again so that everybody's on the same page.
I mean, my advice is to get it in front of the people's eyes ahead of time rather than,
Sounds great.
if we're going for adoption and that's when they see it, or this attorney sees it. I don't know if she's seen it or not. But I would rather she gets in on the forefront.
And Tamara,
Had
has
she met
seen
with
it.
Jason?
What's that?
Had she met with Jason, the new attorney?
I think so. I don't recall exactly. Lauren, do you have any recollection on that?
I don't remember.
I think she did, or at least reviewed it after the fact. Because she's been there for about a year, right? The current lawyer?
The city attorney, yeah.
Yeah.
She's very sharp. She used to work at my law firm before she took this job.
Yay!
Yeah, I think
Well,
she was the
and
last
she
one
knew
to
what a
review it.
CLG was. That's a good point to begin with. When she met with us.
But if it's okay, what do you think we invite her to, though, just so that she realizes, just so we're up in the forefront?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Thanks, Brian.
I noticed from the outline that they presented to council last Monday night that historic preservation is now section 12. It's not 16.611 like it was.
Oh, thanks for noticing that.
Yeah. I don't know if they just moved what we had already submitted or they're ignoring what we submitted, or because council wasn't discussing that on Monday, but
No, they haven't started drafting that section yet. They're still working through some housing sections and a couple of other items. But they do have the language that you guys have created.
okay.
Okay.
Possible when we ask the attorney to attend, to have her kind of look at it before we get together and see what questions or concerns she feels we need to refer to in advance?
Yeah, I think we can get it to her ahead of time if she's available for the meeting.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, thanks, Eric.
Okay, so I guess what are the next steps here? We just schedule the meeting as a work session next week, and I'll get probably more specifics from you, Eric, ahead of that. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, cool. And excuse the squeaking. That's the floor above me. I'm down in the basement here. So bear with me. I'm bringing up the rest of the agenda here.
I don't hear it, just so you know.
Oh, you
So-
don't? I couldn't.
Hey, that's an old house.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah, definitely. So, all right. The next topic is the new business, and that's the OAHP Colorado tax credits for rehabilitation of historic buildings. This was discussed after the meeting also by City Council. I believe it was Sean from Pinyon had brought this up, that this was something that we should probably look into. On the agenda is a link to the preservation tax credits. Now, Lauren, you may know a little bit more about this than I do, but I wanted to bring it up for a topic of discussion here, because this may or may not be something that the City of Inglewood can be part of, encouraging, or may not know about. So, Lauren, do you have any input on the OAHP? So that's the Office of Archaeology and Historic Preservation. Is that right?
Yes, it is. And it's also Office of the State Historic Preservation Officer. And so there's actually state and federal tax credits that are available for qualified rehabilitation expenses. So one of the first steps in the process is that the building has to be listed in the National Register or on its way to listing. But these are a great incentive and benefit for preservation and rehabilitation of buildings. It's what I did before I worked at CDOT, was focused almost exclusively on getting tax credits for developers. So it's a great way to kind of, like I said, incentivize rehab of historic buildings. So I don't honestly know much about the process in Colorado, but it's, there's just lots of, there's just, like I said, I don't know much about it in Colorado, but there are different incentives related to this.
So I did this for preservation tax credits, but it's been quite a while, like maybe 8 or 9 years ago. And so there was this one gentleman, I want to say Sylvester or someone like that, Salvador, that you worked with. And it wasn't, it was time versus money, right? So it was a $5,000 project I was doing on my fences. I took pictures. You had to take pictures of the before. You had to get a written proposal, and you already know some contractors are better at it than others. And then I submitted all that and it was approved. And then for the next 2 years, I got tax credit. Now, it didn't pay $5,000 by any means. I think I ended up saving definitely more than a few hundred. Now, the one part I did forget was there was an application fee. And if you were in this certain amount, this is how much the fee costs. If you're in that amount, that's how much that fee costs. And for me at that time, the fee was around $200. But it ended up being worth it. But again, it's always time versus money on these things. So that was my personal experience.
It's interesting that you got it as a individual homeowner. I'm used to hearing about them like on larger projects, because they really are beneficial when there's, you know, like bigger rehab projects of schools or, you know, commercial buildings or things like that. So that's, I like to hear that perspective from an individual getting them. That's great.
We went through this process for the hotel.
Which hotel?
It's the Slate Denver. It's inside the old Emily Griffiths Opportunity School.
Oh,
But we took over the entire city block, basically right there on like 12th and Welton. But yeah, we had to go through this process. I actually think I have a few of the the ending stuff in my filing cabinets in my office, if I'm being honest. But it's nice. I mean, I didn't really understand the full depth of it when I was going through it, because it was just to get it done. But it's a good process.
okay, cool. What did, it's probably, I'm just curious of approximately how much money, or what percentage, or maybe you can't say that, it's totally fine. I'm just kind of curious, what the financials looked like on that. Was it a significant amount?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm trying to think back to like our pre-opening budget, but that was definitely taken over by, I think we're owned by Wellarm Land LLC, and they took on the brunt of that. So I don't know as much about the financials, but I definitely submitted it with their assistance. But it was a very user-friendly process. I was very relieved by that, if I'm being honest.
Okay, cool. Well, so I've got the page up. There's the link in the agenda for this. It was encouraged that this was brought up at our next meeting by the folks at Pinyon. And I mean, it says here, so 20 to 35% state tax credit for the rehabilitation of historic owner-occupied residences. 20% federal tax credit for the rehabilitation of certified historic buildings used for income producing purposes. So I assume that'd be commercial. And yeah, so I guess it's good information. I'd like to kind of get some ideas on how we apply this in Englewood, because I'm pretty sure there's a few buildings on the 3400 block of Broadway that I'm sure the property owners would be happy to invest money in, you know, and of course get a tax rebate of sorts to, you know, improve property.
Well, this gentleman that's on the video there, Joe Saldivar, that's the guy I worked with. So I have a feeling he looks like he's 19. So I have a feeling he was working there since he was 6. So I think he's been there a long time doing this stuff.
Yeah, he has been there a while, and he's been, as far as I know, one of their only tax credit reviewers for these sorts of projects. But Matt, to your question earlier about kind of what percentage of the costs, or kind of what the, you know, if it's how financially beneficial it is, it's very well worth it if you're doing the project correctly and, you know, kind of following the historic preservation, like the proper historic restoration procedures. And basically how the easiest way I've heard it described is most the expenses that qualify for rehab is if you pick a building up, turn it upside down and shake it. Anything that falls out, anything that's not permanently attached does not qualify, but everything else would. So any sort of work that needs to be done on, you know, windows, doors, interior, exterior walls, flooring, things like that, are typically eligible. And, you know, they do have to follow the Secretary of the Interior standards. They have to follow certain and maintain specific character defining features as those are described for the building. But
that one was huge, by the way.
Yeah, that's the biggest part of it, because they want to make sure, you know, if you're getting money or you're getting tax credits for this, that you're not destroying the integrity of the building.
There was like a group and they would walk around. I can't remember how often, but even up until I think was like a month ago they came back too, but it had just a group of people with a historic, I think it's a historic society, but they walk through and they actually tell you like, yes, no, you can do this, you can't do this. I mean, it has to be up to standards, and they decide on what that is.
Well, I'll guarantee you that's the Denver Historic is very retentive on those type of things. But this gentleman, like Lauren said, I mean, to me, it'd be so cool to get him to come and speak to us to where we can record it maybe and send it to the council, because one of our ordinances says, let's just start this out as voluntary. And if people say, okay, I'll do voluntary, oh, great, now you get the state tax credit for rehab of owner occupied residences. Do you know what I mean? Maybe he could add that layer that would help sell that part of the ordinance. Just an idea.
Well, I mean, I think we could do this without the ordinance. This is kind of my thought. I don't think there has to be any special designation of the properties. I don't think there has to be any,
Does.
it does.
There
have-
has to
It
be
does
some
have to be listed
designation.
in, it has to be listed in the National Register or on its way to listing, if you will.
What about local? What about local, like if we get our ordinance in place and we've decided or designated a property as historic, does that apply or does it actually have to be?
Yeah, I thought that did, Lauren. I thought city thing applied. Is that only with CLGs or? Because I think that just the city is all that's needed.
I'm not sure. I thought it was the National Register, but let me look it up really fast.
Well, and CJ, your house is in a designated historic district, but the individual house is not designated, right?
Being in the district is good enough.
Yeah.
The houses that have kind of changed everything, what I call when I say we lost houses, those of course wouldn't have gotten any tax credit for any of the work that they've done. And I would say the people that have gone through and pulled things out and stuff, they're not asking for tax credits. It's people like me who wanted the fence to look like it was, who wanted the roof and the fascia to look like it was.
So I've got up here the download here, the brochure, as they're calling it. Locally,
State register.
locally landmark are listed on state register. I wonder if our proposed ordinance and process would qualify us or quantify this to be allowable.
Besides Jason, have we had somebody from Historic Colorado look at this and help us, or have we gone that way? Or was Jason our contact?
Well, not recently, but we did have a couple ladies from History Colorado a couple years ago.
They just presented though. I
I'm-
just wonder
I
if they.
met someone at the Brown Palace, actually, and he just got a new job with the History of Colorado, I think is what he said. But I can reach out to him. We connected and I can see if maybe he wants to take a look at it, if that's something we want to do, but seems very eager and excited about all of this as well.
Eric, I saw you on mute there for a minute. Did you have something?
So, no, I'm assuming that once we have the landmark protections in place and a way to kind of get those on some sort of book, that might cover the locally landmarked. Might check that box.
So I'm looking on the how do I know if my building is eligible for a tax credit. It says local landmarks which are designated by municipal or county governments. To qualify for credits, the local government must be a certified local government.
Oh,
Okay. And
Dang.
Another reason to push to become a CLG.
I know. I thought we were gonna kind of breach that topic here in our next, coming up, to see if this is a route that we would like to go down, and if so, what all that entails.
Well, one requirement is an inventory of what our historic properties are, so.
That arguably is, I think the Pinyon survey is fulfills that, yes?
No, it just begins it.
Okay. Interesting. Do we want to put that on a future agenda? It won't be next month. We've got our working session on Title 16. But shall we put that on an agenda in the coming months, maybe January?
I'd like that.
Okay. We'll have to go over again, I guess. I would assume it is a fairly lengthy process to become a CLG.
If I remember, Lauren, were you going to look into some CLG stuff? I thought that had been brought up.
Yes, that was like over the summer, and I did, and then I forgot to send it to you all. That was a couple of months ago, so I don't recall right now everything that I found. But yeah, I honestly don't know the process for becoming a CLG, but I think it's pretty straightforward and pretty easy to maintain once we do it. It's just like annual reporting of the historic resources we have and the surveys we've done, and specific projects and stuff like that.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to go down and at least look at that again and see what that's all about. So let's plan for that on the January meeting.
I do think we need someone from Historic Colorado to come in and tell us what some of the issues have been with some of the municipalities, because I know they don't have 100% buy-in, right, for people into this. And I can already look at two of our council people that may not be interested in anybody telling us what to do. So that's been the issue with CLGs.
As far as I know, that there's not really anyone telling us what to do other than kind of maintaining a list of our historic buildings, kind of staying active with surveys, and then that annual reporting, which those are hopefully all things we're going to be doing anyways. And the benefit of the CLG is it comes with, you can get funding to conduct those surveys, versus without it, the city would just have to foot the bill completely on their own.
Or like us, where we had to stand in line behind others that didn't have CLGs.
Well, and part of the problem is that as the ordinance is written right now, we don't have any power to do anything. So it kind of, we can't proceed with this to be a CLG without those modifications. And that, because that was basically copied out of a template for CLGs.
I don't know that that's a requirement. I don't think you have to have protections in place to become a CLG, because there were like 3 different levels of those template ordinances. And I think, if I recall, there was one that didn't have language about protections. I don't believe that's a requirement.
All right. Well, thanks for the input on that. Then we'll plan for that on the January meeting. Eric, do you think there's any chance that we could get somebody from History Colorado to come and talk to us? According to
I can definitely reach out. Is there, Lauren, if you have a contact at History Colorado, or somebody that might be serve as a springboard to get me in touch with somebody who might be able to come and talk, that would be great. Otherwise, I can kind of do the work on
Yeah, I can definitely look into that and reach out to someone about coming to the January meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You believe we're saying next year already?
I know. Agree. It's crazy. January meeting. Just put my notes in here. January meeting. We'll probably allocate a fair bit of time to that on the agenda for the
Definitely a priority.
history history CO presentation. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean it now that I'm looking at this, we're probably a ways away from this, but I think there's a lot of properties in Inglewood that could benefit from this tax credit, and specifically tax credit, for the commercial properties on South Broadway. So wanted to bring it up. I think we had a good discussion on that. Oh, actually, Cash, did you you had unmuted earlier. I'm sorry, I didn't get back to you. Was there anything you wanted to bring up?
No, what I said earlier is what I wanted to bring up about that CLG thing. Thanks.
Okay, cool. Just checking. Anybody else have any input or discussion on that? Okay. Hearing any. Moving on to, well, staff's choice.
And I don't really have anything going on this month. So.
Okay. Commissioner's choice. I wanted to bring up, and Lauren, you had provided the neighborhood histories update on the 9th. I just sent the agenda out so that it didn't get included on the agenda. Do you want to give a quick update on the neighborhood histories document here, or do you want to push that to the meeting in? Probably won't have time next month, maybe the meeting in January, or you can give a brief overview of this.
Yeah, no, I can definitely give a brief overview. It's basically, you all have seen the bulk of it when I sent out the draft a couple of months ago. I did some more research and, to be honest, didn't really find a whole lot more to add to it. So as I sent it to Matt, I think it's, relatively complete as far as I have the ability to put time and effort into it. Some of the neighborhoods I think are the histories and the information I found are really great. Other ones are pretty scant, just because there just wasn't much. But I think it's in a pretty good place, and I was hoping that we can get it added to the neighborhood map with the, with the pop-ups when you click on the different neighborhoods, that it'll bring up the information and then the photographs and everything like that. And, hopefully we can add to it over time as different, citizens look at it, or different neighborhoods look at it. The one neighborhood in particular, though, the McClare's Forest Hill, or was it just Forest Hill neighborhood? I didn't have any of the information from that one, but I know there's more out there that the neighborhood had. So that was one kind of glaring area to me that can be enhanced. So yeah.
Okay, I'm sending this to you, Eric, so you can send it out to the rest of the group. All right,
And-
I will get that over to you shortly here, Eric.
Is the neighborhood that's lacking information, but that the neighbors themselves might know, do they know that we're interested in this, or is there? I understand that Madeline Hinkfist is on some sort of leave. I don't know for how long.
I haven't heard anything official yet, but I think she might have had her kid.
Oh,
I didn't even know she was pregnant.
Yeah.
wow.
Because a gal named Vanessa in marketing is to answer questions. And when I called and left my question, she didn't know what I was doing. So I was like, okay, so that feels better that she'll be back. But
Yep. I think she's on maternity leave.
was because that Because I think that contact of saying, hey, someone in your neighborhood, get this in the maps, you know?
I know, Lauren, I sent you the latest email address I had for Kay Sue Anderson. And she's in that neighborhood.
Great.
I'm not sure whether
That's right,
contacted
you did, and I forgot, I honestly forgot about that and never reached out to her. I did incorporate the changes you sent, so thank you for that. But yeah, I can definitely reach out to her and see if she's got more information.
And Melinda, you can tell them too. Remember, they can add information themselves toward that map.
right.
What changes are we talking about here? What CJ, what were you referring to as the update that needed to be done?
Just the request that Lauren had said that Forest neighborhood had more information. That's all.
Yeah, it's just neighborhood history. Which somebody who's lived in the neighborhood a long while is more likely to know than.
Sure. Okay, well, I think I have a contact in the Forest Hills neighborhood that might have more information. They're supposed to get us, I think they're supposed to get like the commission a copy of their cookbook. Did anybody else get the cookbook from Forest Hills?
Yes, I did, and there's no history in the cookbook.
Oh, there
There's
is
a lot of great recipes, but
Oh, that's all right. All right. Well, I'll reach out to the contact at Forest Hills and see if she has input on that. But anyway, nonetheless, we've got Eric. I just sent you the email. If you could send that out to the rest of the board or the commission here, and so everybody can review it ahead of our meeting. I'll probably put it on the January agenda.
Yep, will do. And I got it.
And Madeline will be back by then, I assume.
I don't know.
You know.
I would assume so, but I don't know.
Okay, cool.
Hey, Matt, you should report on the society's annual meeting.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you for the reminder on that. Yeah, the Inglewood Historic Preservation Society had their annual meeting.
Wait just a second, Matt. What's the name again?
Historic Inglewood. Thank you, CJ. Historic Inglewood had our annual board meeting last weekend. We had a really great turnout. Had a lot of great input from our members, and yeah, we've got a new board member that just came on, and it was a great meeting.
The new board member is so cool. She has 4 kids who are teenager and up. And she was born and raised in Inglewood, right? Had left for a few years and then came back. So really cool to see that enthusiasm.
And she bought a historic house in Inglewood. So she's very history oriented. So yeah. All right. Well, let's see. Anybody else? Cash, do you have anything for Commissioner's Choice?
I do not. Thanks.
Melinda, do you have anything?
yes, actually, I had just a quick show and tell.
Okay.
See if I can share my screen here. And
Hey, Matt. Oh,
can
never
you
mind.
see that? This I was in Westminster a while back, and this sign is on Lowell. And since we'd been talking about signage, I thought that was something rather interesting, and I ended up capturing this picture off of Google Maps because the day I was going to stop and take a picture, but it was raining. So
Well, cool. That's very neat. So the historic Westminster, what area is that?
I'm not sure what their art district is. This sign is at about 74th and Lowell.
Down there. Sounds like an interesting area, so that's cool.
Yeah, I've never thought of Westminster as being particularly historic, but I guess Westminster thinks so. So
Well, no, I believe there's I believe there are some historic parts. I know that the old tramway lines went from downtown Denver to Westminster, and I believe that was one of the further routes that it took. If I'm correct on that, I'm pretty sure it did.
oh,
So that would mean that there had been at least some part of Westminster that dated to 1900s, early 1900s.
yeah,
Interesting. Well, that's a very cool sign. What else did you want to mention on that?
that was all I had. Just well,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to, yeah.
I think you can.
I'm trying to unshare here.
If you go over to the banner, you can just hit the. Should be a stop.
There it is. Okay, yeah.
And this is CJ. I have nothing. I know that sounds strange to you guys, but
That's good. Hannah, do you have anything?
I do not.
Yeah, Lauren.
I actually have two things. One, the more exciting one, I'm actually pregnant again and due in mid-January. So I will be taking, unfortunately, another leave of absence from the commission starting in, well, I may or may not be at the January meeting, but certainly not February and March. So, yeah.
All right. Congratulations.
They know what
you.
causes that now, you know.
And the other thing I have is you mentioned the tramway. I was actually contacted last week, I think it was, by a gentleman who has worked on the restoration of an old tramway car in Arvada. That they just completed the restoration of it. They got a bunch of grants, and it's located now permanently near the light rail station, I believe, in Arvada. And they have found another car, I think it's near Fort Collins, that is in dire need of restoration. And it used to run, it's a Denver Tramway car number 4, I believe, and it used to run through Inglewood. So he was just kind of curious if we wanted to get involved, if we as kind of like city representatives could generate interest in getting this car restored, maybe helping to find, I think, a final location for it. I'm not quite sure exactly what he's asking at this point, but I just kind of wanted to bring it up to the group and see if anyone else, or, what our thoughts are on this, if we want to take it on as a project to sort of support them in this endeavor. I believe he said they've gotten some grant funding for the restoration already, but I'm sure it will take a lot, just time and energy and resources and whatnot. But yeah, what are people's thoughts on that?
Well, real fast, I'll jump in here. He actually emailed just earlier today, and his name is John Cox. Is that the same person that you were dealing with?
Yes, and I had also mentioned the Historic Society or Historic Inglewood as another organization to reach out to. So I'm glad he did.
So he did. He actually provided pictures here, and I can share my screen. Let's see here. Okay, and sharing. Can everybody see the email here? This came into the Historic Society, but looks like somebody was actually using this car as a cabin in the woods.
That's what I gathered. Yeah.
Everybody see that? Got a little bit of Tyvek on the side there.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'd hope that. I mean, needs a lot of work.
He said this one is actually in better condition than the one that they restored in Arvada. So that's
Really?
Wow.
impressive.
It's got a nice sun deck here in the front. I mean, yeah, wow, that's, anyway, it's interesting. I don't know, what is our involvement in this? What can our involvement be in this? Are we allowed to, we don't have any funds to help with it necessarily.
I would think finding a locale, if this guy's, willing to coordinate and then having coin collections or whatever. I'm sure fundraising like Lauren alluded to. But I'm thinking locale would be the number one thing for that.
Well, I'm thinking it'd be pretty neat to have this as a centerpiece and I know that the recent development stuff and the redevelopment of Cinderella City has somewhat changed due to developers pulling out. So I would imagine they're probably going back to a point of planning again. It'd be kind of neat if they could incorporate something like this in the new city center development as kind of a showpiece.
Or even the circle right there, at Hobby Lobby area or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it is.
Quite long, I believe. That was, yeah. I don't know. I have no idea actually how long that is, but I would assume it's 20 feet, 25 feet.
I have no idea how big those circles are. I mean,
So
it
Eric-
needs to go somewhere where people couldn't slumber in it.
Yeah. Eric, what could our official position be on this? What are we allowed to do with helping or supporting, or do we know?
That is, I don't know, honestly, but if you want to write me up just kind of a brief thing of what we just went through and what the situation is, and let me run that up the chain and see if it's possible for HPC to use funds for that sort of stuff.
Okay. And maybe there's a grant available that the city may be able to, we may be able to receive on the city's behalf to assist with this project. Just an idea.
Potentially, yeah.
Lauren, I'll reach out to you, and I'm sure he said about the same to me that he sent for you.
Mhm.
But
And the other thing I can do is I can reach out to one of the gentlemen I know that worked on the Arvada restoration and kind of see, how that city was involved and kind of what that process looked like for them, and just get a little bit more kind of that background information too.
That makes sense. Thank you, Lauren.
yeah. So Lauren, I'll plan to reach out to you here in the next week or so, and I'll get our information together as to that. When do you think you can hear back from the folks in Arvada?
I have no idea. I'll reach out tomorrow and then see, hopefully, well, with the same Thanksgiving holiday, I don't know, but
That's good point.
yeah, a week or two, I guess.
Cool. Well, keep me posted on it. But yeah, I think it'd be kind of an interesting thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, we finished kind of early tonight, 7:30.
Oh, one other thing, people, you found out about the Saving Places thing in February, is that right? Up in Boulder. I'm guessing Eric's gonna need to know who can go and when to help pay for that.
Yes, if that's something you're interested in, let me know. Send me an email. I'm assuming, I'm not sure if registration is open for that yet or not. But yeah, if you're interested, let me know and I can get you signed up.
I think registration just opened for that in this past week.
Okay.
Cool. CJ, do you have anything else?
No.
Cool. Well, I guess that's it. Like I said, finished a little bit earlier than we normally do tonight, but I think we had a lot of good information, and thanks for everybody joining. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Very good. Eric, I don't think we have to vote on that. I always ask you that, I think, and I always forget.
You're good. Meeting adjourned at 7:34.
All right. Very good. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Everybody.
Good night.
Happy
Congratulations,
Thanksgiving.
Lauren.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Congratulations.